All right, let's get it popping, y'all. Ty Butler in the house. Wow. Did not see this one coming. Hit us up. Ty D Butler is where you can find us on Instagram. Yo, we got TikTok ringing off yesterday. I put out a Josh Allen video that Bills Mafia, man, they were coming after me about him flopping all over the place in that win against the Chiefs. So follow the TikTok, Ty D Butler. We are streaming live on YouTube and on X right now, reacting to the NFL trade deadline. Hit us up in the comments. We want to hear from you. Already on and popping. Get you guys on the screen here. Jose ATX says, I love the trade. I love this trade. And I'm seeing some consistency when it comes to that sentiment. A lot of Jet fans that I know texting me right now, all excited. Here's what I will say. Before we even get to the trade, because you guys know I have been hard on this regime and for good reason. I will give them credit because one of the things that they were tasked with, and we heard like chirpings about it when they were brought on board, both AG and Darren Muji. They wanted to clean up some of the leakage. Why was it that these reporters were getting scoops that, look, I understand players being dangled around. That's agents doing their just due. But there was just too much happening when it came to some of the leaking with the Jets. And they cleaned it up. And how that, showed itself today was, of all the names being mentioned, as far as the New York Jets being sellers at the deadline, none of those names were Sauce Gardner. He was being shopped. Now, the report is that Indianapolis had their sights set on another corner. That fell apart. So they went big game hunting with the Jets and offered up 2 first-round picks, and now they get their guy in Indianapolis. But I give AG credit, and he's annoyed me to no end. And it resurfaced yesterday. When I'm watching him, I was thinking, the Jets being on a bye week, I did not miss these press conferences because once again, he is getting into it with reporters about who his quarterback is. It's just unnecessary, man. It's unnecessary. And I get in your mind, you want a competitive advantage. It's just like the way he goes about it, the combativeness, how rude he is, turns me off. But with that said, I give them credit because no one saw this trade coming, which is why when that flashed across my timeline, when I saw Ian Rappaport say Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts, actually, here's how it really went down for me. I was just hanging out, watching Shrek with my 2 boys. That movie wraps up. So, I'm just chilling on the couch. All of a sudden, I get the notification pop up on the screen, and it is Ian Rappaport. And he says, "What a day." And I'm like, oh boy, something big done went down. Is it the Cowboys, the Steelers, Buffalo? So, all these teams that we know coming into the deadline were fishing for some ammunition. He says, "What a day." So I'm like, man, something big happened. Little did I know that something big that had happened was involving my football team. Sauce Gardner, like, it's still taking me some time to process this. Sauce Gardner going to the Colts. Wow. I truly sit in a state of shock and disbelief because there are a bunch of people on the beat who didn't see this happening. Bunch of people on the beat. Now, Jay Glazer of Fox, and I'll get to my thoughts breaking down the trade in a moment. I want to allow some more people to get on here. Jay Glazer of Fox is who I am referencing when I say there was some thought, at least by Indianapolis, that they were going to get a corner. Don't know from which team, don't know who the corner is. But if you pay attention to what's on the screen right now, I'm showing you Jay Glazer of Fox says the Colts were talking to another team about a corner. Thought they had something in place. Didn't happen. So they go all in trading 2 first rounders and wide receiver A.D. Mitchell, who the Colts, I think, drafted in 2023. So the Jets for Sauce Gardner, A.D. Mitchell. When you look at the wide receiver depth chart for the Colts, it is easy to see why he kind of fell out of favor there. And Jay Glazer just emphatically, when he goes, now that is a move, just pushes across some of the sentiments that we have all kind of combed through here. And that is, wow, what a trade. Okay, so here's the thing. It is undeniable that if we just look at trade value, it's a home run. 2 first-round picks for a cornerback. That is you hitting it out the park, mammoth shot. I just find it amazing the amount of Jet fans who are so giddy, so excited, as if, wait, man, you haven't been here before, huh? I've never come across a fan base that has so consistently and fervently welcomed a hard reset, a rebuild, like the New York Jet fans. I get a text message like, man, all we got to do is empty out, bottom out, get rid of everyone except Garrett Wilson, and then we're on and popping. Yo, did I receive that text just now, or was that back in 2021, 2015? We go back to 1996. I mean, this has been an organization that has been in rebuild mode since 1968, 1969. The enthusiasm coming from a fan base that hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years upon reading a report that you just traded one of your 3 best players away is just dumbfounding to me. I understand it partially because you knew that this season was a wash anyway. And if you can cash in, again, great draft value and capital when you can send him to Indianapolis and cash that in for 2 first-round picks, I get that part of it. But draft capital, draft value only goes as as far as the guys actually making the selections. And I wonder, can someone out there with conviction tell me they trust Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji in this upcoming draft? Maybe you're out there. I would like to hear from you. But let's not get it twisted. This same regime did think Justin Fields was good enough for a 2-year, $40 million contract, $30 million guaranteed. That's going to be a cap hit that hits them next year, even if he's off the team. So I just want to reiterate, I'm not ripping them for the trade. It is an excellent trade as far as value. 2 first-round picks for a cornerback. That's a Shohei Ohtani, ask Homer World Series type of move, right? But the other part of it is like, yo, no one quite likes a rebuild like the Jet fan. Jet fans have never met a rebuild they weren't willing to go through until 5 years later, they're once again embracing yet another rebuild. It's just like over and over and rinse and repeat. You can set your watch to it. So I get it from the standpoint of we're garbage. So if we can get some more draft capital, how about this? Maybe we'll draft another Sauce Gardner. That'll be fun. But it's crazy, man. Our Castle chimes in. Ty, what's going on, bro? He hits us up. What is this trade? Well, the trade is this regime who decided to give this guy a mega contract extension before the season to the tune of 4 years and $120 million. They decided 8 games in, I actually don't think you're good enough to be a part of our future. Because we are about changing the culture. No better way to change your culture than to trade away one of your three best players. I am once again just reiterating, I'm not ripping the trade because on the surface, it is inarguably a fantastic trade for the Jets when you look at the draft value standpoint of it. But y'all, another rebuild, doing this again, and it's not just staring your reality in the face and saying, throwing your hands up, and it's like, whatever. The fact that y'all are so damn excited about it just blows my mind. I wish I had that level of enthusiasm where it's like year after year, yet another marriage, huh? Okay. This time it's gonna work, right? All right, cool. Say less. Wow, y'all. Wow. Hit us up. We are talking to you guys in the comments at Tidley Butler. That's where we are on Twitter, on Instagram. Hit up the YouTube page. Give us a follow. We on TikTok too, y'all. Getting to pop it on TikTok. Man, yet another rebuild, a hard reset. And it just doesn't get old for some of y'all. Doesn't get old by any means. You know, I always love to hear from my man Connor Rogers, who does a tremendous job. He's at NBC, he's at SNY, he's everywhere, man. And this is what he says. This trade makes a ton of sense for both sides. Sauce Gardner, really good player, fills a huge needed QB or CB1 for a contender in the Colts, a team that Chris Ballard, that is the general manager, has been trying to build for a long time. For the Jets, they're going to be taking a quarterback at the top of next year's draft. You need more assets to build the right infrastructure on offense around that player. That matters more than anything else long term. It's very early, but using that extra first on a strong wide receiver class would be logical. And look, Connor, this is an A1 tweet. He nails it. Everything about that tweet makes sense. Here's the context, though, and why a lot of Jet fans are going to struggle with this. They don't trust Aaron Glenn. So you can talk about drafting a quarterback, getting a receiver in a wide receiver rich draft. If you don't trust the guy actually making those selections, then what does it matter anyway? And I got a text from one of my boys. He's like, yo, this is the first step to what needs to happen. You know, Baron cupboard, like just rip it all off, cash in on the assets. And then he's like, and now you got to get rid of Aaron Glenn. My man, Aaron Glenn made this trade. This trade was orchestrated and delivered by Aaron Glenn, who is not just the head coach, but also the general manager and has his little sidekick, Darren Muji. And I don't say that to be disrespectful, but that's just what it is, right? Like, Glenn was hired before the general manager. He's got a ton of power. So when Woody Johnson signs off on a massive trade like this, when you're getting rid of one of your three best players, what that tells me, you've got a ton of job security. So for all the people out there that were like, yo, if they lose out and they're 1-16, could this mean the end for Aaron Glenn? This trade to me signifies we are locked into this dude for at least 2 more seasons, because when he drafts his quarterback this year, he'll get a chance to see what that dude looks like next year. And I don't think Woody Johnson is going to allow that rookie quarterback to have his head coach canned after 1 season. So he's got a 5-year contract. I don't know if he makes it 5 years, but he's getting this season, he's getting next season, and he's getting the season after that. That's just what that trade, in my eyes, confirmed to me. Hit us up in the comments. Ty D Butler, whether it's Instagram, we are on YouTube as well, getting it popping here on X. That's just the reality of the situation, y'all. This is where we find ourselves. Once again, fully entrenched in a rebuild. And you got people like myself who live and die with this football team that is just so sick and tired, man. I've grown weary. And I know the Bible says don't get weary in well doing, but man, I'm weary. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've been going through this my entire life, to the point where, I posted the picture of me and my kids on the first football Sunday of the year in our Jet attire. And I had folks ready to call ACS on me. Like, yo, you are a terrible dad raising those kids to be Jet fans. Like, that's how deep it runs in my blood. So you have me who is just pessimistic because you're on the hamster wheel of rebuild after rebuild after, and it's like, oh, this time it's going to actually work in your favor. Hard for me to believe that without seeing the results. But then you have another segment of the Jet population that is just they've never met a rebuild they didn't want to endure. They just get so giddy. It's like, sitting at the damn uh table on wing night, just licking your fingers. That's how much they love themselves a rebuild. And it's like, yo, you don't get tired of this. Because think about what we're saying. We are excited about the Jets today trading one of their three best players, who this past offseason they decided to give a massive extension to. So 8 games into the year, they then detoured and said, you know what? Don't actually think you are a great fit for what we're trying to build here. So let's trade you for 2 first-round picks. Excellent trade value. Do I trust the guys making these selections? Because here's the thing, and we talk about this a lot when it comes to the NBA with cap space, because fans love themselves some cap space, just like the Jets love themselves. The Jets and their fans love themselves some rebuild. Trade value only goes as far as the guys making those selections. So you can have the first pick in the draft and the 21st pick in the draft. And then next year, the third pick in the draft plus the 19th pick in the draft. If these dudes can't draft, then what does it matter? Now, I get what people are going to be saying. Then, Ty, what's the point of being a fan anyway? Like, what's the point of still watching and rooting if you just feel like they're destined to suck? That's a great point. I'm telling you, as I sit here an hour after the trade, that's where I am. That's where I am right now. That's all. I'm being honest with y'all. So I guess we're prepared for them to just be bad the rest of this season and next year. It's going to take a whole lot of cleaning up in order for this team to get good again. Now, you do wonder what is going to happen next. Because my mind immediately goes to Garrett Wilson also got an extension. Is he being traded? There are a lot of teams that can use receivers. You're not trading him to the Buffalo Bills, but Pittsburgh. I don't know, because Rodgers and Garrett didn't have a great relationship, but a lot of teams out there looking for help at the wide receiver position. A lot of teams out there. So could he be a fit for some of those teams if they are willing to part with first round picks? How would y'all feel about that? The Jets send Garrett Wilson to, I was going to say Jacksonville, but then Jacksonville just pick up a receiver today. The Jags, Jacoby Myers they got today. So Jacksonville, you can kind of cross them off the list here. That'd be funny, but no. Green Bay, I guess, right? Like Green Bay could use some receivers. Those guys, they got a bunch of number 2 receivers. Don't really have a number 1 receiver. Niners? I don't know if the Niners are doing that. But could Garrett Wilson be had? Jose from Brooklyn likes the trade. Everyone so far, for the most part, likes the trade because they're simply looking at the asset value. Would I rather have would I rather have Sauce Gardner making $120 over the next 4 years or 2 first round picks? You know, another thing too, and Jose, you're a Jet fan, so I'm pretty sure even though you like the trade, this is something that you will agree with me 100%. It is actually quite depressing that the Jets are never able to fully endure the entirety of a great player's window because the rest of the team around that great player isn't good enough. So you've now found yourself in yet another rebuild where it only makes sense to, if you can, cash in on that guy. In other words, we've seen them draft some great players like Jermaine Johnson, who might get traded today, like Brees Hall, who might get traded today, like Sauce Gardner, who just got traded, like Garrett Wilson, who I don't think will be traded, but I also didn't think that 2 hours ago Sauce Gardner would have gotten traded, like Quinnen Williams. There are a bunch of great players, or even good if we want to be conservative, good players that this team has drafted, but we don't really get to see it play out to its fullest extent because they stink, they're poorly coached, and they don't have a quarterback. So now you find yourself in familiar territory at every single deadline. Oh, we have a great player. Should we trade him? It's never, we have great players and a great team. Should we become buyers? That's not the lifestyle the Jets live or the Jet fans get to experience, which makes it so frustrating. Even if you are excited, ecstatic, even if you are over the moon because they were able to get 2 first-round picks today, it does have to, at some point, annoy the hell out of you that they can never be the team that is able to cultivate the talent to a point where they're a winning football team, to where, teams are calling about these players. No, we're not trading them because we're good and we're going to the playoffs. In fact, we're going to be the ones making phone calls to other teams about their good players because we think we can add to this. And I'm not just talking about, last year. Well, we acquired Devontae Adams. They were either 2-3 or 2-4 at that point. I can't remember last year when they acquired Devontae Adams. But come on now. Like, that's the frustrating part about this. That's what makes it so frustrating. There are going to be a lot of people today. Hang on. I'm just saying a tweet. Yo, so I'm going to blow this tweet up, and I don't do it out of disrespect. Danny Parkins, I think, is terrific on FS1. First things first. Shout out my guys Nick, Chris, and Kevin Wild. So I'm gonna blow this tweet up because I think it's something you're gonna be seeing a lot of today. And here's Danny Parkins, who says Sauce Gardner has 3 interceptions in 55 career games. This statistic will make rounds today. And a lot of people, if you're a football fan, I highly doubt you're watching a ton of Jet games. They stink. They're uninteresting. There's really no reason for you to watch the Jets outside of them playing against your team. Unless you're a division rival. Like if you're a Patriots fan, you're watching the Jets. If you're Bills, Dolphins, I get that part. Danny Parkins is a Bears fan. I feel with certainty. Now, I've only met him once, and he was dope. He was really nice to me. But I can say with like 99% certainty, Danny Parkins, the Bills fan, is not watching a lot of Jet games. But he's not going to be the only guy doing this today. There are going to be a ton of people who are football fans evaluating this trade. Oh, the Colts are overpaid, which might be true, but they will point out that Sauce only has 3 interceptions. Guys, there are many times I watch Sauce Gardner and I get frustrated. Last year, he was horrible at tackling. Just terrible at tackling. It made no sense. There are moments in games where he gets cooked, which happens to the best corners. But Surtain is the best cornerback in football. Then there's a conversation to be had about who's second, third, fourth, and fifth. Sauce is a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. Now, if you want to say he's overrated because of the poor tackling, okay, sure. I'll be honest. There are times where I felt Sauce Gardner has appeared to be overrated, and some of that can just be like me being emotional as a Jet fan. 3 interceptions in 55 career games. is not the ammunition you think it is when going after Sauce. Guys don't throw at him. They don't throw his direction. Now, there have been opportunities for him to pick up interceptions. Like I remember, so this was week 2, and this is just like ingrained in my mind. Week 2 against the Cowboys 2 years ago, so 2023. And remember the Jets were at home for Buffalo in the Monday night game where Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles. I'm pretty sure it's week 2 against the Cowboys, where Zach Wilson is starting, and they got trounced 30-10. Early in that game, Sauce had an opportunity at a pick six. I mean, Dak threw it right to him, and if he catches it, he's going to the house for a touchdown. I want to make sure I have, not that it matters, but, I pride myself on being accurate with my information. So you go back to 2023. Yes, it was week 2 in Dallas. They lose 30-10. Zach Wilson, who had helped them win the game against Buffalo, was awful in this game. Sauce had an opportunity at a pick six and just dropped it. And that was one of the moments where Jose says Sauce is overrated. That's one of the moments where I may have uttered, this dude's overrated. Because it was so frustrating at times watching him just have butterfingers, poor tackling. But when you look at the full body of work, guys, we can debate to what degree we feel we can debate how great he is. He's a great corner. Now, if your problem is he's not as great as people have made him out to be, like he's been marketed as, a top 2 corner, and you feel like instead of being top 2, he's closer to just like top 5-ish, that's fine. We can sit here and debate that. What we can't debate is that, especially in a sport where you're just not allowed as a defensive player to breathe on guys, it's become a lot more difficult to play defense. We cannot argue this dude is, by the way, an all-pro 2 times over. We're not arguing, is he great? He is a great wide receiver. He's a great wide receiver, great cornerback. 2-time first-team All-Pro. Defensive Rookie of the Year. We're not going to sit here and debate that part of it. Is there more we'd like to see from him? Of course. We're not going to. Now, we'll see that from him if it does happen in Indianapolis. But we're not going to sit here and pretend he's not a great cornerback. That's not what we're going to do. It's not what we're going to do. I'm going through some. We have another blockbuster trade. Wow, the Jets are just cleaning house. Oh my goodness, guys. Quinnen Williams. He gone. Wow, y'all. This is blockbuster. The Cowboys trading for Jets Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, sending a first-round pick and more. A new home for one of the NFL's best to team that values interior defensive linemen as the Jets build for the future. So Quinnen is out. We are reacting to this right now on the stream. Wow. Wow. Expect this to be the Cowboys first rather than the Packers first. So now, if you're the Jets, this is good news. If you're the Jets, because the Packers coming off of a horrendous loss, and maybe it's not all that horrendous. The Panthers are 5-4 now, but that's a pretty bad loss if you are a Packers team that people expected to win or at least contend for the Super Bowl. The Packers are going to be better than the Cowboys this year. So the Jets are going to have 3 first-round picks. Wow. We're getting hit with just a ton. Like the Jets weren't just sellers. So what's the point now of keeping Breece Hall? What's the point of keeping Breece Hall? Three first-round picks. So what's hang on. What's the point of keeping Breece Hall? So you say keep Breece. Jose Arcasu says get a first or second for Breeze. I don't know that you're getting a second round pick. You might get a third round pick. What's the point of keeping Breece Hall? This is a complete teardown. A complete teardown. Jermaine Johnson might get moved. Quinnen just got moved. Sauce got moved. So that means on the table, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall. Could we see Quincy get moved? We saw Michael Carter II get dealt to the Eagles last week. Garrett, everything's on the table right now. The Jets are open for business. And shout out to y'all. We got a bunch of people up in here. Hit us up in the comments. You can't get a second rounder for Breece. Just keep them. Third round pick, man. If a team is offering me a third, because that's the question. Are you going to re-sign Breece Hall? Now, I because we're reacting to this in real time, so there's going to be a lot of just like, sequiturs and non sequiturs. The Garrett Wilson thing, to me, doesn't make sense to trade him. I mean, if you get blown away in a deal, that's a different story. And Jose, I'm answering this question right now. Does Garrett Wilson move? If you get blown away, where a team's giving you like what they gave you for Sauce, 2 first-round picks, then maybe that's a conversation we got to have. But if the Jets are drafting a quarterback in April, you want to have him on this team with some weapons. You want to be able to build a solid foundation and have a pretty good infrastructure in order to help maximize that quarterback's potential. Because if he's coming here and the cupboard is barren, I just don't understand why it would make sense to trade Garrett Wilson. Again, if you are getting like some massive Godfather offer, 2 first-round picks, then you might have to do that. But within the back of your mind, you are going to be drafting a quarterback this coming April. I don't know how you want to have this quarterback come onto this team without a weapon. And a nice starting place for that quarterback would be Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor, right? Like you'd think. Jets are willing and dealing here. What a what a day. Which is funny because the NFL trade deadline was never this popping. It was never popping like this. Like this was more like an NBA thing. Where you get all these moves being made. The NFL trade deadline up until recently wasn't this explosive. Wasn't this amount of like activity. But here we are, y'all. Here we are. Yeah, we're reacting to that. Quinnen Williams, who I love, man. And the numbers don't do it justice. Because a lot of people wanted him to have more sacks, and it just didn't have the impact. Yo, that dude I saw getting double teamed, man. Excellent Jet. He had a tremendous Jet career. Unfortunately, didn't get to showcase his skills on the biggest stage. Even if we set the bar low, like the big stage being just a big game, how many big games did Quentin Williams play in? Very unfortunate. And I love Q, man. I love Quentin. Quentin was someone I rode for, and I was happy to see him get that contract extension. And it was actually like the first time in a minute the Jets signed some or drafted someone and then was able to give them a contract extension. But yeah, Quentin Williams, Sauce Gardner are no longer New York Jets, and we are reacting to that here in the chat. Hit us up in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. How y'all feeling so far? We've got Quentin Williams gone. Sauce Gardner gone. That means the Jets so far today have acquired 3 first-round picks in addition to the first-round pick that they have. So they now have 4 first-round picks entering next year's draft, which should cause you to be excited until you then are faced with the realization, I don't know that I trust the guys doing the drafting. So here's the deal. Embrace the rebuild. I totally get that part. I just have a hard time believing you guys can be excited right now. You just traded 2 of your 3 best players away. You are headed for one of the worst records in football. And you are giddy about what? Having 4 first-round picks? Because you think what? These guys are going to be able to draft well? Maybe it does happen. Maybe this is finally the rebuild that actually leads to some winning. The tide has turned. Maybe it's different. Shout out Randy Calderon. Yeah, we here, baby. This is a big NFL day. We got to react to it live. Maybe there is a new sheriff in town. Maybe the culture is different. Maybe, just maybe, the Jets, who sold their soul for that championship in 68-69, Joe Namath, maybe, just maybe, they have seen the light. God has like sprinkled some anointing on them. And it's like, you know what? Now is the time. Yo, everything in the world around us is blowing up. But now is the time that the New York Jets, and wouldn't that be funny? Like right before the Jets turn it around and finally get a rebuild correct, the world ends. Like, how sad would that be? When you want to talk about same old Jets, yo, there's a lot happening in DC right now, just all over. It's election day, so there's just so much turmoil happening. Wouldn't it be same old Jets if right before they are about to turn it around, the world just ends? That's what you talk about. Like when you talk about same old Jets, man, we can rattle off, blown Achilles here, blown Achilles there, failed head coach here, failed head coach there. The almost had Bill Belichick. We can do all that. We can do all of that. Butt fumbles and Big Ben on 3rd and 6. And the 99 season Testaverde. Like we can play the hits. Let's do that. Play the hits. The fake spike. There would be nothing more same old Jets-esque if right before the turnaround happened, the world ended. That would be terrible, right, Jose? Horrible. That would be terrible. Yo, I want to hear from y'all in the chat, man. Hit us up. YouTube. We are on X right now as well. Getting it popping on this NFL trade deadline day. Got about 90 minutes to go. If you want to be more exact, 103 minutes left to go before it is cooked for NFL trades being made. NFL trades being made. The Jets so far today say goodbye to Quentin Williams. He goes to the Cowboys for a first-round pick. And there's significance in the information about the trade because it is the so the Cowboys, remember, have a Packers first round pick in the Micah Parsons deal. So you're wondering, is it going to be the Cowboys pick or is it going to be the Cowboys first? And Ian Rappaport says he expects this to be the Cowboys first rather than the Packers first. The Packers are better than the Cowboys, so that Cowboys first round pick is a lot more valuable, but it's huge, man. Ian Rappaport saying the Jets insisted it would take a mammoth offer to move their star. They trade two of them, both with insane offers. Quinnen Williams to Dallas. Cowboys traded Micah, did more than send one of their best players to the Packers, says Ian Rappaport. It also gave them crazy draft capital. They used some of it to go out there and get Quinnen Williams. Wow. So the Cowboys, if you're a Cowboys fan, just to recap, acquisitions: Quinnen Williams from the Jets, Logan Wilson from the Cincinnati Bengals, Kenny Clark was in the Micah Parsons trade from the Packers. You got Pickens from the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Elam from the Bills. You got Murray from the Titans, and then of course the Joe Milton trade that happened last offseason for the Patriots. You gave up Micah Parsons. More information coming in from Ian Rappaport. Along with a second and a future first rounder, the Jets are trading for defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. All right, I need the trade details because the way he phrased it was a little odd. All right, so we're waiting for the details on the Quinnen Williams deal to come in. All right, and Schefter has it. I'm pulling it up on the screen for y'all. Here we go. Full trade. Cowboys get defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. The Jets get a 2026 second round pick, a 2027 first round pick, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. So quick correction. I said the Jets will have 4 first round picks in the 2026 draft. It's 3 first round picks. You've got the 2 pick, you've got, I'm sorry, 2 first round picks. You've got the Jets' own first round pick, and then you have the Colts first round pick. I thought that this was a first round pick in 2026. Looks like it's going to be a 2027. Yeah. So this is yeah, one of those days. As a fan, you want to be excited. The people, it's a great day for the Jets. I don't know. I kind of look at it differently. Maybe this will end up being a great day for the Jets. In real time, it's hard for me to look at you trading 2 of your 3 best players and saying, man, what a hell of a day. You parting with those guys is an admission of failure by the organization that you weren't good enough to retain them and to have it not be well, it only makes sense to get rid of them because we just stink. These aren't older guys. They're in the thick of their prime. Sauce's extension hasn't even kicked in yet. Quinnen's on his second contract, but having 2 of your 3 best players on the move for an organization that is trying to establish a culture, I mean, from a trade value standpoint, yes, home runs. I understand acquiring first round picks, we love them. But the best way to build a culture is to have as many good players as possible. And the Jets just traded away. We can debate how good they are. They just traded away good to great players today. And maybe it'll lead to wins in the future because it sets them up to draft their next quarterback, their next receiver, their next edge rusher. I understand that part. But as I sit here in real time reacting to two of the best players on the team being gone, I don't sit here with excitement. I don't sit here with jubilation. This team's going to be awful. They were already bad defensively. And now they're trading away two of their best defensive players. And I'm supposed to be giddy. Why? Well, you know what? I know you were excited about the rebuild in the 90s, in the late 90s, and the rebuild in 2015 after or 2014 after Rex, right? You were excited about the rebuild in 2019 and then 2018 and then 2021. Over and over again, I'm dunked into a pool that is baptism by rebuild. And then I come out of that pool excited about this new life. I've been reborn only to look up and I'm right back in the pool. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It just gets old at times. That's all I'm saying. That's all. All right, so let's take a look at what Schefter's going to offer us as far as the Jets draft capital. Future picks for the Jets after today's trades. 2026, 2 first-round picks, their own, and 1 courtesy of Indianapolis. You got a second rounder and a second rounder. So 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders. The additional picks coming from the Colts and the Cowboys. And then in 2027, 3 first-round picks. That will be a Jet first-round pick, a Cowboy first-round pick, and an Indianapolis Colts first-round pick. So here is what's exciting about that. If you do get the quarterback in this year's draft, look at how much capital and ammunition you have to build around that quarterback. You already have what you feel is a pretty damn good offensive line. That you've got your cornerstone pieces in Mimbu and Fashionable, right? So that offensive line, pretty good. You get your quarterback in this year's draft, and you hit on that quarterback, then it makes it a lot easier to build around and provide that dude with a foundation. Moves I would make in Madden, great job. Yeah, man. Yo, I just can't be a cheerleader today. I can't be, wow, we're getting picks. We whoop-de-doo. I get it. And as we put the finishing touches on this, I just want to make sure, and Jose's going to the game on Sunday against the Browns. That should be fun. I just want to make sure I am crystal clear because I don't want, the aggregators to get out there and try to misconstrue what I'm saying. Every time I get a notification on my phone, I just make sure to check it because stuff is popping on. So, on the surface, the Jets flipping Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner into 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. That part right there makes it a home run. My problem is, how are fans excited about entering yet another rebuild? You've been here before. You've been optimistic. Are you not so beaten down that you look at another rebuild and say, it's just like a fait accompli. We're going to be in this same rebuild just 3 years from now. I don't get excited about picks. You know why I don't get excited about picks? The same reason why if I root for a bad team in the NBA, I can't get excited about cap space, because those picks, just like the cap space, only goes as far as how good the guys that are making those selections in April, and in the NBA's case in July, it only goes as far as those guys being good at their jobs. So I can't just be, happy go lucky about some damn draft picks. Again, value standpoint, asset cashed in, love it. It's incredible because the team is going nowhere. But I got to have more faith in this regime that they can cook something up with these picks before I get excited. So there's a level of enthusiasm emanating from this fan base right now that I just don't quite understand. Y'all haven't made the playoffs for 15 years. A decade. Yo, think about how long ago 2010. Think about where you were, how different your life was in 2010. 2010. Think about how different your life was. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. Today, they are trading away two of their three best guys, and you're excited about draft picks for years down the line. Somebody's got to make that make sense to me. You know what's crazy? So it's election day. And just to contextualize how long it's been since the Jets made the playoffs, Jets haven't made the playoffs since Obama was halfway through his first term. And boy, I mean, listen, we all know that's a long time ago. So for y'all to just be all giddy, I don't understand that part. That part somebody's got to do some explaining to me. I don't get that. To be this giddy. Oh, we back to what? That reminds me of Nicki Minaj. Back to back. Me and Drizzy laughed at that. Back to back. Oh, you mean back to whack? Back to back. Me and Drizzy laughed at that. What are we back to? Oh my. Yo, it's crazy. We've got two guys who were destined for, at the very least, Jets Ring of Honor, but ultimately became casualties because this organization can't get out its own way. And people are excited that the same organization that spoiled the potential and the promise of Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams is now going to be tasked with drafting players who are going to help build for the future. How am I to get excited about that? I just can't. I can't. So that's why I'm letting y'all know these are really good quote unquote trades, but you got to show me something. We get to next April and the Jets have won the draft. Maybe it's different. Now, people are going to try to use the Detroit Lions, like analogize them, because that's what they've been doing with Aaron Glenn. And the Lions, you look at their recent draft history, I mean, they're just hitting home runs everywhere, right? Like, that's how the Lions have become the juggernaut that they are. They went out there and traded for a quarterback who was considered a bit of a cast-off, but he was a former number one overall pick and had gotten his team to a Super Bowl in Jared Goff. And then all the assets they had from the Rams, they just cashed in and just kept hitting home run after home run after home run in the draft. So I guess that is, if you are someone looking to be excited today, the source of your optimism will be in that analogy that people keep trying to, shove down our throats. But I leave you with this. Are you more confident in the Jets now than you were 90 minutes ago? Are you more confident in the Jets than you are 90 minutes ago? They are a significantly worse team, but have much better draft capital going forward. This comes down to whether or not you believe that Aaron Glenn, who so far has had a nightmarish first season, who is responsible for Justin Fields getting $30 million guaranteed, if you believe that guy can hit home runs in the draft the way that his former organization, the Detroit Lions, did, which elevated them and catapulted them into Super Bowl contending territory, if you believe he's capable of that, then you lay your head down tonight and you feel like you won the day. Then you feel encouraged. But if it's still either at best case scenario TBD, or even worse than that is no, hell no, I don't trust Aaron Glenn, then there would be literally no reason for you to be excited. Ty D Butler is where you can find me on X, on Instagram. Give me a subscription on the YouTube page. We're ringing off out here on TikTok as well. I appreciate you guys joining the show. Peace and love, man.